this morning, having heard the sad news of the passing on of our ambassador, Billy Modise, the MEC, Joyce Mashamba, as well as the Member of Parliament, Sbu Hatebe. Indeed, the nation is mourning the passing on of these public representatives and selfless South Africans who have continued to serve our nation to the end. Cabinet met yesterday at the Union Buildings here in Tshwane. Amongst other issues that Cabinet reflected on are the issues related to the United Nations Security Council, the appreciation that was expressed by Cabinet on the overwhelming support that South Africa received as a non-permanent member of the UNSC for the terms 2019 to 2020. Our view is that this election comes after a unanimous resolution to convene a global peace summit in honor of former President Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela in September 2018, which is the centenary year of South Africa's founding father. Our membership, therefore, is dedicated to honor the legacy of Madiba, that of promoting peace and prosperity in the world. We'll use our membership to advance the priorities of the African Union Agenda 2063, which is a strategic framework for the socio-economic transformation of the continent over the next 50 years. The next area is on the Eskom wage negotiations. That Cabinet welcomed the interventions that have been made by the Minister of Public Enterprises in the wage negotiation dispute between Eskom management and Labour. The supply of electricity is one of the critical levers in growing our economy and creating more jobs. We appeal as Cabinet to all parties to work expeditiously in resolving the wage increase negotiations for the sake of stability and the economic well-being of the country. The third area is on the protests that have engulfed the country. Cabinet strongly condemns the recent blocking of several highways by protesters in some parts of our country. Highways are a critical part of our transport infrastructure that supports the transportation of goods and services of the various sectors of the economy. Our constitutional democracy provides for platforms wherein people can raise their issues without causing any disruptions, including destruction of property. Criminal acts of aggression and disruption will not and must not be tolerated by law enforcement agencies, and Cabinet calls on those law enforcement officers to take the necessary steps within the confines of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa of 1996 to ensure that perpetrators are brought to justice. We view these acts as acts of economic sabotage because we do believe that there are various forms and means that people can use to raise their grievances without sabotaging the economic life, including the right of movement of individuals who are not part of the demonstrations. It is unfortunate, and it must not be a habit that law enforcement agencies will continue to tolerate. The following are the decisions that Cabinet took. Amongst others, Cabinet was appraised on the biannual performance progress reports for the period starting the 1st of October 2017 until the 30th of March 2018. We appreciated the progress made in a number of sub-outcomes of the 14 priority targets and also approved the proposed interventions in some of the areas that showed less progress. All the clusters will conduct media briefings to unpack the progress and areas that require immediate interventions. Amongst those, it has been the reflection on the state of our economy as a country. Secondly, the state of our health sector and the challenges that are faced by this particular sector. And we will also be reflecting quite soon in our own Lekgotla again, a reflection on what needs to be done to turn around the situation with regard to the economy, but also reflecting on the state of peace and stability in South Africa. We have agreed as Cabinet that GCIS will coordinate the media briefings and publicize the schedule of those briefings. We also, as Cabinet, discussed issues related to the mining sector. We were briefed by Minister Mantashe on the two-day meeting held in March 2018 with social partners represented by organized business and organized labor. All the social partners agreed on the need to resuscitate social dialogue in the mining sector, as well as identify critical interventions required to ensure the mining sector is placed on a trajectory of inclusive as well as sustainable growth. The social partners further reflected on the last quarter decline in the mining production, as well as the broader trends regarding mining investment, production, as well as employment. They agreed on the need to reflect on the shared vision for the mining sector and re-endorsed the complementarities and interdependencies between transformation and competitiveness. Cabinet was also briefed on the two multi-stakeholder teams established to finalize the mining charter. Once all the consultation processes have been finalized, the charter will be presented to Cabinet for final adoption. The next area was on the draft National Budget Framework for 2019, which is a mandate paper on what government should focus on in terms of its priorities for that financial year. Cabinet approved the release of the Budget Prioritization Framework for Budget 2019 and also the timelines for the completion of the Budget Prioritization Framework for the Budget 2020. The framework proposes the priority programs for Budget 2019 that will enable government to tackle the triple challenges of poverty, unemployment, and inequality within the available resources. The next area was on energy. Cabinet approved the decommissioning and decontamination liabilities attached to the past disused strategic nuclear facilities, Stage 1, and the current operating facilities, which is Stage 2, at Pelindaba site. Currently, these liabilities reflect in the books of NEXA, resulting in liabilities exceeding the assets and project negatively on its going concern status. Cabinet therefore approved that the process should be taken forward in consultation with the National Treasury. The following are the upcoming events. The first one is on the World Economic Forum Roundtable. President Cyril Ramaphosa will host the World Economic Forum Roundtable at the Park Hyatt Hotel in Rosebank on the 28th of June 2018 under the theme Shaping South Africa's Economic Renewal, the Role of Business. The event will bring together about 100 local and foreign business people and South African government officials to engage on investment opportunities and partnerships. The meeting with the World Economic Forum business community is a precursor to government's investment conference planned for later in the year that aims to mobilize investment of multi-billion rands over 5 years. The next one is on the South African Customs Union Summit. His Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa will lead a delegation that will attend the SACU Summit to be held on the 29th of June in Botswana. The President will use the gathering to meet the Southern African Development Community Secretariat to discuss the implementation of regional programs. As the current chair of SADC, South Africa has consistently supported broader regional integration through the SACU and SADC and champions regional industrialization and integration through various potential growth paths. The next is on the Water Institution of South Africa Conference. The WISA 2018 Biennial Conference and Exhibition will be held from the 24th to the 27th of June 2018 in Cape Town. The Southern African region faces increased uncertainty and vulnerability regarding water supply, and many parts of South Africa have recently experienced prolonged drought conditions. The conference is expected to attract 2,000 delegates who will discuss ways to ensure the achievement of the UN Sustainable Development Goal number 6, which centers around providing access to clean water and sanitation for all by 2030. The following are the messages of condolences. Cabinet expressed its deepest condolences to the family and friends of Honorable Sbusiso Khatebe, an ANC member of parliament from Mpumalanga, who was killed during a hijacking attempt in Gauteng. Honorable Khatebe will be remembered as a youth activist that worked hard to improve the lives of South Africans. The families of the 3 miners who died at Sibanye Stillwater Kloof Ikamva mine near Western area in Gauteng, and Cabinet calls on all stakeholders in the sector to continue to prioritize safety in our mines. Cabinet also sends a message of condolence to the Amampondo community on the passing of the Queen Mother of Amampondo, Asenyandeni, Queen Figelepi Pongolethu Ndamase. Cabinet also sends condolences to the families and friends of Mr. Ismail Bassa and Mr. Sayad Hitek, who were killed during an attack on the Malmesbury Mosque in the Western Cape. Cabinet congratulates and extends its message to the following people. 1, Dr. Robert Guess, a leading South African researcher on Devonian marginal marine ecosystems and early vertebrates on Asiate fish and early tetrapods. He uncovered what is believed to be a 360-million-year-old fossil. Cabinet also congratulates Bongumusa Mthembu for defending his comrades' marathon title and Anne Ashworth for winning the women's race. Cabinet also congratulates Xolani Luvuno for his determination and perseverance to finish the marathon using his crutches. Cabinet congratulates Dr. Siyabonga Cwele, the Minister of Telecommunication and Postal Services, following his election as the chairperson of the International Telecommunications Satellite Organization. South Africa is chairing ITSO for the first time and will hold the position for 2 years. South Africa will use its chairpersonship to advance the interests of the African continent and developing nations in multilateral organizations. That was all that Cabinet reflected on yesterday. Thank you very much.